Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Laws That Matter. I'm Carissa Kranz, and every week we like to talk about inspiring news. And sometimes the highest law is that of compassion and kindness towards others. That's the universal law. And today we have an exciting guest. We have the founder of Animal Hero Kids. She's an author, a humane educator, an animal activist, and Tabay, a child hero. Sometimes it really is all about the kids. Furthermore, at the end of the show, you're going to get to have a taste of an amazing kid snack that is BeVeg certified vegan. It's our featured product of the week, and it is called Happy Hummus. So without further ado, let's get right to today's programming. Founder of Animal Hero Kids, thank you so much for joining us, Susan Hargreaves. And did I say your name right? I might have messed it up.
Yes, you said it beautifully. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so you're right in my neighborhood. We're both here in Jupiter, Florida, but we have a global audience right now that we're speaking to. Yeah. So tell us about Animal Hero Kids. I've known about you for a while, by the way. I've seen you on some of our local news, and I just did a recent article with CBS News here on the wet markets and closing them down, and they brought you up to me as well. So I've heard about you from Jane. I've heard about you from CBS News. So tell us about your organization.
Well, Animal Hero Kids inspires and empowers and educates youth to be kind to all species of animals. So we create animal heroes. We support animal heroes. And the fact is that most children want to be kind to all animals, and they may not realize what they are doing in their daily lives that might be cruel to animals. So they're very open to helping all species.
And how are you recruiting these kids? How are they coming to you and finding you?
Well, that's a great question. I've been going into schools since 1980, and I do school assemblies. And so my background is early childhood education, yet I do the grade levels, all grade levels, universities and colleges, and basically any grade level. Have kindness will travel. And these days it's have kindness will travel virtually.
Yeah.
And many kids see the book Animal Hero Kids in their local library, and they call me because my cell phone number is in there, and they call me with their parent and want to get involved. That's one of our recent additions from Alaska. That's how she found out about Animal Hero Kids.
So those that are finding you are generally from households where they're not necessarily brought up with a knowingness and an understanding of the cruelty that goes into maybe their diet and other aspects of their life, and they're finding your book and they're listening to you, and then they're going out and changing the message for others.
Exactly. And we are not necessarily here for kids who are already vegan, though we are a support network. So they might actually be already vegan and the only one in their school, the only one in their town. And they get support where they're meeting other kids who feel the same way. But then there's also kids that just want to help dogs. Like Lily wanted to help sled dogs in Alaska. And she's in a very small town outside of, like in the middle of nowhere. And she took out the book and the Animal Hero Kids book, and she realized there are other kids who are helping animals. So her and her mom called me while I was in Publix one day, and I thought, oh, this is great. I love this. It's going everywhere. Now she just wanted to help dogs at the start, and then she found out about all the other animals that need help, and now she's doing vegan activities for Animal Hero Kidtober this month, which is Animal Hero Kidtober.
And what is Animal Hero Kidtober exactly? I've heard of Oktoberfest, but I don't know if I've heard of Kidtober.
Animal Hero Kidtober is like Oktoberfest, but no beer and vegan sausages.
How fun. And where is this being held?
It's actually World Animal Hero Kids Month, and World Animal Hero Kids Month all over the world. During this month, Animal Hero Kidtober, kids and teens are aiding all species of animals. And we're going to be feeding some at-risk areas here in South Florida. And we're going to have a mobile video billboard with the videos from kids asking the world to go vegan. a lot. They're asking them to try vegan during Animal Hero Kidtober. And there are different activities. Yesterday, I was with a bunch of Animal Hero kids at a wet market in Orlando, outside of that wet market. And we were in hazmat suits asking people to realize the link between the pandemic and animal-based agriculture. And we're going to have some of that video on the mobile video billboard, as well as supporting Joaquin Phoenix's message from his kitchen to ask the world to go vegan. So that video is also going to be on there. So, and then also we're rolling out a new book, Veganza, Animal Hero. And that's the first vegan woman grown-up superhero. And I created her in 2014 in the back of the Animal Hero Kids book, but she's had a name change because her name was Sorche. Do you know what Sorche means?
No, what's that mean?
That's why her name is no longer Sorche.
Like a sorcerer or something?
It's freedom in Irish. Freedom in Irish. Oh.
Yeah, it's kind of like the marvelous, Mabel type of, yeah.
Marvelous Miss Maisel?
Yeah.
No.
Oh. Yeah. Well, no, but it's fine. But it looks, so what is that book? Is it going to be like a comic book, or what's the inside?
Yeah, it is a rhyming picture book that's beautifully illustrated by Monique Martinez.
Yeah, it looks beautifully illustrated.
And it's an adventure, and there's also a brown vegan mermaid named Courage who helps animals too, all the sea creatures. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah. So this began for you back in 1980, you said?
Since 1980, I've been in the animal rights movement, animal activist. I started investigating the stockyards and the slaughterhouses in Toronto, and combined education and activism, and did a lot of direct action.
And when did you begin working with kids?
I always worked with kids because I was in early childhood. I went to college in Toronto for early childhood education, and I worked in the Metropolitan Toronto Community and Social Services, subsidized daycares with the so-called problem children, which is really, they're not. And,
right.
And so I thought, why not combine the two? Why not combine my activism with with helping animals?
Education. Yeah.
So when I was 9, I was an Animal Hero kid that was unrealized, that was ignored, that was not empowered. I saw a lot of cruelty. I was taken into a chicken hatchery at 9 years of age and saw all the chicks being gassed and suffocated, and I couldn't do anything about it. So
yeah,
now I'm very happy to empower kids.
And how long have you lived in Jupiter?
2001. 2001. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I asked because I'm in Jupiter and I went to elementary school here and middle school, and as a vegan, because I was born and raised vegan, and but you weren't here in Jupiter yet at that time, because it would have been nice back then to have had some kind of support system or encouragement or education in the schools. Back then it was really different. It was a different food pyramid even that was promoted that has, since changed and is continuously changing. Before it was, meat and dairy were major food groups, and that's constantly evolving as health is becoming revealed to be much more fruitful of a way of life to go without the meat and the dairy and to choose the plant-based way. So, I'm excited to talk about the second part of the show. Hopefully he can connect. It's about Happy Hummus, which is a school treat. And he works with local schools to bring in this nutritious vegan treat in these little like fun packs for kids. And he's supporting the local schools by donating these vegan snacks. And I think that's great because as a kid growing up, I always felt left out when I couldn't eat the fun snacks, like the string cheese. You know, I remember all my friends eating like these little string cheeses, and they were having so much fun pulling the pieces of the string. And so it's nice to have some fun vegan snacks too.
Well, I'm very thankful to Tofurky and Beyond Beef that have donated a lot of the food that we give out free in schools. After each presentation, the kids get some kind of a free snack, or sometimes it's an Animal Hero sub building. So it's a hero sub building activity, which is what we put the Tofurky slices on, and the vegan cheese. And so they love that. It concludes our presentations.
So typically, are you going into schools personally, or how are you getting your message out globally, but yet localizing it? Because I know, like, you've been in the local news here in Florida across many mediums. So obviously you have a local presence and a local stance here, because local news isn't going to cover global news unless you can localize it. So what are you doing to localize it in person? And also, how are you expanding that globally without necessarily traveling?
Well, one thing about this whole pandemic is that it has forced me to be more virtual. So like, for instance, I personally reach 30,000 students each year in a normal school year by visiting in-person schools and doing school assemblies. And as you know, the average school population these days is at least 500 children. And if it's a high school, even more.
And what are you saying to them to broach the subject? How are you opening? I mean, you're speaking to a bunch of kids that have been raised culturally, you know, without the awareness, possibly with the violence on their plate and the food on their plate. What are you saying to them to not, you know, how do you open the door?
I bring in a 6 feet Ronnie V. Cow character, and Rocky Raccoon and others. And for the elementary school students, we discuss animal heroes, how they can be an animal hero, and some real true stories from the Animal Hero Kids book. And so it's helping all species, yet there's a cat that's being helped on the cover, and yet inside it's all animals, including rescued farm animals. So, and then there's even a vegan kids recipe section. So I don't go in there saying what you're doing is not right and change this and do that. It's basically a joyful way of defining how kids their own age, from their own backgrounds, are making a difference helping animals. And we also have nominations for Animal Hero Kids on our website. So, and we also have all different types of contests and challenges, like songs and dance, inspiring compassion in others. So I focus on the fact that they don't want to harm animals. And they end up clapping and cheering after each happy animal rescue story, where it doesn't matter what species of animal, it's exactly the same level. So they want animals to be saved. They're not aware that the animals are on their plate in many instances. So Ronnie V. Cow helps me say that in a way that we're not talking, and in a way that allows me to be invited back. So I'll say, what does V stand for? Can anyone guess what V stands for? It's very interactive. So
is that how you start? What does V stand for?
How I start the actual program. I start the actual program underlining how many kids there are their own age who are helping animals. And so then they answer what V stands for. So,
and how often do they know what it stands for?
In a school in Palm Beach, a private school, a 4th grader said that it stands for vodka. So it really depends where.
Oh my gosh.
Which
private school?
I'm not going to say.
Yeah. It's probably one down the street from me.
And in California, in a school in Santa Monica, one of the kids said virtual, which was the first. But usually
that's a COVID response.
Yeah, usually there is a vegan teacher or a vegan student that will pipe up, and they won't necessarily answer, but their classmates will answer saying, vegan, so and so is vegan.
Yeah, it's nice when that happens.
Yeah.
When I like going back to when I was like in high school, there weren't very many vegans, and I remember doing the high school speech and debate tournaments that I would have to, get my meal tickets for ahead of time, and I was like the only vegan on the list, and it was really tough. And recently I went to dinner right before COVID, right at the beginning of COVID. I went to dinner with my high school debate coach. She's still a very good friend of mine. Right. And she said, Carissa, like you order for us tonight. I go, what do you mean me order? She's like, oh, I didn't tell you. I'm like, no. And she's like, oh, I'm vegan now. I'm like, what? Like, this is amazing. And she's like, yeah, my God. And a third of my classroom is too. I'm like, wow, things have totally changed because I was the only one. I think there was another student. He was my best friend. We went to prom together. He was Indian and he was vegetarian. And that was it. It was me vegan, him vegetarian, and everyone else was, eating the normal cultural food that, they were raised eating.
When I went vegan, nobody actually knew what the word meant. Nobody had any clue what that word meant.
Even now, I mean, I'll go on an airplane. Well, not right now because of COVID, but and I'll say, do you have a vegan meal? And the people next to me will be like, what's vegan, or what's the difference between vegan and vegetarian? They really don't know. A lot of people don't know. It's still a really common question.
Yeah. It's great that they're asking the question and that they feel comfortable enough to ask the question. And that's Animal Hero Kids. Those questions often come up, and that's the beauty of it. I end up answering their questions, so I'm not preaching to them or making them feel guilty. I answer the questions that you probably get, but from kids. I mean, it helps that Billie Eilish is vegan, and she tweeted out to her gazillion teeny bopper followers about being vegan. So then they'll have questions about that because she said that. So the fact is that our world is turning more vegan. And in the 41 years I've been doing this, of course, I've seen that change. And Animal Hero Kids is determined to magnify and multiply and expand that change on a global level with youth who are very open with it. And that's like Tabay, who's going to be coming up shortly. Tabay is a fine example of an eloquent, thoughtful teen who is making a difference in his own area where he lives. And he's participating in Animal Hero Kidtober. There he is. Hi.
Hello. So what's Tabay's story?
I'll let Tabay say what his story is, of course.
Uh-oh, we can't hear you, Tabay. I think you're on mute.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot.
Okay.
I'm the youngest certified yoga teacher in America and a vegan chef. And I became vegan a little over 3 years ago.
Where are you located?
Right now I'm in Hawaii, but I'm part-time here, part-time California. And all the money that I've made from my classes, my yoga classes, cooking classes, appearances, everything, I've given 100% of it to helping people who have cancer.
Oh, wow.
And, what?
And today you're making a special lunch.
Yes, today is National Make Your Parents Lunch Day. And today is my mom's cancer-free day, so it's a double extra special. So I'm going to be making her a special meal.
What are you going to be making?
I'm going to be making her some pasta and some quinoa with beans, and I'm going to see what else she wants.
And is she vegan too?
Yes, we've both been vegan for over 3 years.
Who started it, you or her?
I started it, but we both started together around the same day. And
what was the trigger?
What?
What triggered it for you?
Well, we'd heard about vegan. We've known about it for a while, and we knew that we should be vegan. We wanted to go vegan, and it wasn't until August 31st when I was on an airplane flying back from New York. I was on the Harry Connick Jr. show, and we were eating this chicken pasta and cheese platter, and it made me feel so sick to my stomach. And that's when I decided to go 100% vegan.
What
And
was it that made you feel sick? Was it something connected, or what was it?
But around that time, I've been having lots of stomach aches after eating food. I didn't really realize what it was, but it was what I was eating, the animal products.
Mm-hmm. And Animal Hero Kidtober, the activity that that Tabay is participating in, is now happening globally today. So every day in October, kids and teens around the world are participating in the activities in their own area, in their own neighborhood. So it's a vegan lunch day. So it's great.
And Tabay, tell us about your yoga background. How did that start?
I first became interested in yoga when I was 6 years old, because that was after my mom beat cancer. We had never heard of yoga before that, but she got into yoga for the first time. And before she did yoga, she was very weak and broken down because of the chemotherapy. But I saw how yoga was helping her heal and recover from all of the effects of the chemotherapy. And that's when I told her that I wanted to teach yoga and help others heal the way yoga helped heal her. And then we traveled the country getting certificates, and I got my 200-hour vinyasa certificate when I was 10 years old. I'm now 500-hour vinyasa certified.
Wow. Amazing. And how old are you?
I'm 15 now.
And how old were you when you got certified?
My 200-hour certification, I was 10 years old, and I now have somewhere around 10 specialty yoga certificates.
Wow. And what do you say about the link between yoga and veganism?
I think that yoga and veganism go hand in hand. I think that because yoga, from Patanjali, it was comprised of 8 limbs, and one of them was yamas. And yamas, one of the main yamas is ahimsa, which means nonviolence. And a lot of people just think it's nonviolence to yourself and other people, like don't hurt any people, don't hurt any other people's feelings. But it's also all living beings. So you don't harm yourself, don't harm other people, don't harm the animals. And I think by adopting a vegan diet, you're covering that.
I'd love to see you do some yoga.
I've been doing lots of yoga classes on Zoom and during the pandemic. And
are you also teaching them?
What? Yeah,
I'm teaching.
Yeah, I'm doing.
Where can people tune in?
Well, on my website, tabayatkins.com, I have my yoga and vegan cooking series where I have a variety of yoga classes ranging from 5 minutes to an hour and a half, and also vegan recipes, foods from all over the world.
And what age of audience are joining your yoga classes? All
ages, because I have kids yoga, I have adult vinyasa yoga, I have restorative yoga. So people of all ages join in and watch the videos.
And how many students would you say you have total?
Well, I have students all over the world that watch the websites on the video, watch the videos on the websites, take my Zoom yoga classes. People from around the world.
That's pretty remarkable.
Yes, and now, and any kids or teens who are watching, you can join Animal Hero Kids like Tabay has done and be part of our crew. And so a lot of people think because the name is Animal Hero Kids that it's really, just kids. And of course, you're not a kid anymore. It's just being told you.
Can you age out of your organization? Do you age out?
Once you, it's like Hotel California. Once you're Animal Hero Kid, you're always an Animal Hero Kid. So, like for instance, I did a presentation in Miami Beach to a pre-school over 21 years ago, and one of those students is now helping Uganda doing a claymation. So he graduated from college, and now he's old enough to have his own kids, of course, and then he's also doing a claymation video. I still think of him as an animal hero kid, and even though I met him when he was in preschool. So we have so many. The first award I gave was 22 years ago, and now that Seidel Clark has his own children and is a crump dancer in Atlanta.
Do you have any, Susan, do you have any like story that really sticks out to you as like one of the highlights over the years?
Well,
any hero story? I'm sure every story is a great story, but any truly
memorable. What I really love to do is to surprise kids and teens during a school assembly who have helped animals and give them an Animal Hero Kids Award. And they have no idea that it's going to happen, and they'll put out news releases, get of course image waivers.
Your audio, just so you know, your audio is dropping a little.
Okay, how is that? Is that better?
It's a little bit better, yeah.
And so one of the things I love to do is surprise kids during school assemblies with Animal Hero Kids Awards. And Lovey, the little 18-year-old rescued dog, comes with me, and then put out a news release about it. So I get like double bang for my time, where I get the message out to millions from the news stories that come from it. So those are my favorite stories. Like, for instance, in Miami, Liberty City, 7 kids playing out in their neighborhood. They see a man chasing and beating a puppy. He put the black puppy under the ground, under the sewer grate, and they didn't approach the man. They went to the so-called dog lady in the neighborhood, Tia, and Tia and the kids got that sewer grate up, rescued the puppy. The puppy had to have the leg amputated because of the injuries, and I surprised them in their school, in Allapattah Middle School in Liberty City, with a reunion with the dog that had 3 legs and was adopted out to someone. And I surprised them with a reunion, and every single media turned up for it. Every single TV news, newspaper, everywhere turned up for it. And I also was very lucky that Hakeem, a vegetarian restaurant, at that time, it was called vegetarian because it was a while ago, but now it's, of course, vegan. It always was. But he did Jamaican patties and carrot cake, and all the kids in the school got it. So it was like really a triple header, because these kids were applauded in front of all of their classmates. Message. And then that message came and went over the airwaves and reached millions, because a lot of national or global newspapers picked it up, as they do from local. So
it's a lot easier because it also dealt with a dog as the,
and it also had a vegan food. See, that's how I bring them in. See,
right? It's smart. It's not shoving it down their throats, and well, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
It's not.
Yes.
Yeah. And you're going to get the news. You're going to get the more mainstream media when you have the dog stories.
Right.
Like I used to do a lot of the Nancy Grace show when it was on the air as one of her legal experts. I was one of her regular contributors, and now she has her own network now called Crime Online, and the animal law contributor is a vegan, but she has very, very strict rules to follow to keep it. It's all about dogs. They have to keep it. That's why the Jane Unchained News Network is special, because we get to talk about all the animals, not just the ones that mainstream media is prepared to hear about. But it's smart. It's a smart way for you to bring the message in the way that you want to bring in, but connect it with a story of like a happy ending for a 3-legged dog.
And your point exactly taken. That's why I created the Kind to All Award, for that exact reason. So reporters could not separate being kind to a dog. So Kind to All is for vegan kids that are active in the community helping. So I get to underline it in the news release, underline it in the award, underline it in the news story, because it's kind to all. So it gets that across.
It's special when the kids can make the connection and bring it home to their families. Like, I know that my first boyfriend, he figured out that cows had families. This was before he was my boyfriend. And he, at like 11 years old, turned his whole family vegetarian, not vegan, but he just, he was so close to his family and his mom and his dad and his sister, and they all were like a very close-knit family, that when they realized cows have families too, they were done.
Wow. So that's it's good that you were choosing wisely at such a young age. You were to associate with.
Yeah, well, I think that there's a certain consciousness that comes with that decision. So it's hard to be with someone that's not on the same level of awareness. Now, it's one thing if they're not there, but they're open, and then the moment they are made aware that they get it, then you're talking about someone that's already conscious and aware. But it's hard to, I think, be with someone who, once they know, they choose to remain in the dark.
Yeah.
That won't work.
Yeah, and that's why education is so important.
So I want to ask Tabay, you have an audience all over the world, and you have kids yoga. How are the kids receiving the vegan message?
A lot of kids that I meet, when I tell them that I'm vegan and what vegan is, they all they understand about it, and they actually want to go vegan. And but the only challenge for them going vegan is sometimes their parents. They don't really, they're not on board, and try to make an excuse for why they shouldn't be vegan. Usually happens a lot. But I show them my recipe, show them how easy it is to make the vegan food and how much it tastes just like non-vegan food. And but the kids are really interested in it because it makes a lot of sense to them.
Are you seeing kids go home and change their families? Are their families evolving with them? I know you just said the opposite has happened. They're meeting with resistance, but what about meeting with, oh, wow, this is a great idea. Let's try this. Is that happening?
That happens, but not as much as the other option I just said, but it does happen. And where the kids tell their parents come to me and say, ask about information about veganism, and I tell them about it. I tell them some documentaries that they should watch. And
which one do you recommend? What documentaries?
The two that I would recommend the most is What the Health and The Game Changer.
Ah, you like the new one, The Game Changers. Yeah.
It actually played at one of the schools near me here in Hawaii. It played. They played it during an assembly at one of the schools here.
Awesome! Wow. Well, Hawaii's always been a little forward too, though.
Yeah. It's wonderful for nutrition classes, and there was actually Santa Fe College in Gainesville. I did a presentation to the nutrition, and they love the Game Changers. It's perfect for colleges.
Yeah. I mean, The Game Changers is a great film. I went to the world premiere of that, and, it really puts into perspective those that think vegans is like for the wimps, because you see the strength and the athleticism and the Olympic athletes and the world's strongest, what is he? Is he the world's strongest man? He was like lifting up cars.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And it's really an important thing to underline in the presentations. And I'm lucky that Corinne Sutton, who is a professional vegan bodybuilder, is one of our advisors. He's our fitness advisor. So he comes with me a lot of times to, we went and did some group home presentations in Miami, North Miami, where it's teens who are about to.
Where does Corinne live?
He's in Miami.
He is? I didn't know that. Okay. I met him in Los Angeles when we did New Day, New Chef.
He's
we filmed.
So wonderful. He's so helpful. And he's such a upbeat, positive example of how strong you can be. I mean, I can go in and say my experiences, but then when Corinne comes with me, they say, see, you too could look like this.
Yeah. I remember after the show, it was season 1, we were filming and we were standing outside, and I was so full from eating all the food from the different episodes because everyone was cooking. And we were standing outside, and Jane wanted to go somewhere afterwards with everybody to decompress and just have coffee because we were full. And there's Corinne saying, I'm starving. I need to go get some real food. I go, what do you mean real food? We just did a whole filming of a bunch of real food. He goes, no, I need like a big tofu. I'm like, okay. Like, I guess he just felt like he got little nibblings of like all the food, but he couldn't like have a real food. He wanted like a tofu steak.
Yeah, he's quite an appetite, and he has to, he really has to. We were doing a filming for the Animal Heroes documentary in plants in Miami. And of course, we had Dr. Clapper and Corinne Sutton and I talking, and we had all the food that was absolutely gorgeous at Kranz. And he wasn't really supposed to eat it. It was supposed to all look pretty. And right in the middle of it, he just started eating it. And I'm saying, you're not supposed to be eating that.
Well, yeah, I guess because when you're filming, I mean, I don't know, Tabay, how your format is with vegan cooking and your audience on Zoom or how you're doing it. But, when we're doing these shows, it's more about the presentation than it is about being able to sit down and eat. Right. So I was actually backstage and eating a lot. I was full, but he's a bodybuilder. He needed his food. He needed his tofu steak.
Yeah. But after filming, it's always nice to sit down and eat all the food that you're showing.
That's another reason why I like going to Los Angeles and following Jane around to her lunch break lives, because as soon as it's over, I get a really good meal out of it.
So, and how it's changed since the early 80s when I became vegan, and what a vast array of vegans now exist across the world, all different kinds, sizes, backgrounds, cultures, nationality, all different reasons. And I've done it because I investigated the stockyards and the slaughterhouses, and I won't have anything to do with that sort of cruelty. And but many people are doing it for their health, as Tabay can attest to, and some people are doing it to look good. A lot of celebrities are like, well, this is how I look good. This is how my skin stays clear. This is how I keep my weight down.
It's now becoming hip. I know growing up for me, it wasn't hip. It was taboo and weird. And now it's like the thing to do. It's a very chic, celebrity, hot, be vegan, be plant-based. Right. So it's popular.
That saying you're vegan was the first form of social distancing in the 80s.
Yeah. No, I was very much considered an oddball, but I don't know. I didn't want to eat an animal. I knew better. And I remember when I was like 2.5 years old, I was in Washington, D.C. My dad was there for business. And I went to a friend's house down the street, a neighbor's house, and they were making hot dogs and milk. And I said to them, is this a vegan hot dog? And is this soy milk? And I was 2.5. And they were like, I remember them looking at each other like the mom and dad, because I was just there on a play date. And they were like, just say yes. She doesn't know what she's talking about. And I remember being like, I know exactly what I'm talking about. And I walked home and I asked my mom, I go, is this a vegan hot dog and a vegan, vegan soy milk? And she was like, no, Carissa. So I knew, like, I don't know, but it was just odd. It didn't, now it's a lot more normal to see vegan parenting guides, and it's more of a thing now, but it really, like you say, 1980, when you got into this, it was weird. It was way ahead of the times that are now. And I know a lot of people do start out for health. It started out in my family 4 generations ago with my great grandfather for health.
So and then still people that need help. There are still kids and teens who are the only voice, and they may be getting teased in their school. I've done presentations where somebody came up and just hugged me in the hallway because they finally are not an oddball. They're someone to be applauded because of what I just spoke about for the last hour. All the kids who are helping animals. And so I cannot highlight enough how important it is to support the kids and the teens who might be the only voice in their town or the only voice in their home. And it's important that we help with bullying prevention and making them feel that they are not alone. There are many others. I mean, just someone needing Tabay, who has never met another teen in Alaska, can change their life, can make them feel so much more comforting. And the fact is that if they don't get that support, they could be seriously upset or harmed or feel all alone in the world. So if you're a kid or a teen watching this, or if you know of a kid or a teen watching this who feels alone, then encourage them to go to animalherokids.org and join us. And it's always free. Every program we do in schools are free. Every presentation to join is free. And we're an all-volunteer charity that is determined to make the world a kinder place for all species, and not to ignore the most abused group of animals in the world, which is factory farmed animals. And now climate change, we also have Earth Hero Kids, and that's any child or teen who is vegan is helping to reverse climate change. Getting a message.
It's so true. There's so many different reasons to choose this lifestyle. There's the environment, there's the health, there's the empathy and compassion. To me, it's all even interconnected. Once you choose one, you realize you're there for another. Like Tabay, I know you started for health, and I'm sure now you've made the connection to empathy and compassion, like most yogis would, to be honest. I think, it's an evolution process. And I like to say that a lot of people are already on the path without realizing they're on the path, because they are trying to live a compassionate, empathetic life, but they might be having a disconnect because of cultural conditioning is what it is. We're conditioned sometimes to very much disconnect. I mean, even me, I have things in my closet now that I've had for years that I look at and I don't know what to do with it. I wouldn't buy it now and I won't wear it, but I don't really want to throw it away. So it's kind of just there.
My mom.
Yeah, it's an evolution, so I didn't eat it. I never ate it. I made the connection right away when I was very little, when I was born vegan with my mom, but my parents got divorced when I was young. So I did have a choice to make at like 4 years old. And I was very aware of that choice, but I was very disconnected from the fashion side of it for a while. It's an evolution to really understand everything around animal cruelty and exploitation of animals and all of it.
Yes, and being consistently kind also. I notice when I go to Black Lives Matter protests, I'll see some fellow vegans there, because the fact is that it's a matter of being consistently kind and
justice
to all. And
social justice.
Yeah,
period.
How intersectional, which I guess is a new fangled word to me, but in the 80s, I would go to protests for justice, and I would see a whole bunch of other vegans there.
I think that there's I did a couple shows on Black Lives Matter for the Laws That Matter, and I think what's important is the vegan movement is a social justice movement. It's not necessarily an animal rights movement. The animal rights movement is its own movement as well. There's the animal rights movement, but if you're a vegan, you should be a vegan because, well, not you should, whatever, but veganism, if you're vegan for ethical reasons, then you really should be aligned that means you stand up against social injustice.
Just about having a heart and being consistently kind to all. And we're empathetic. And if you're empathetic to the suffering of a pig in a slaughterhouse, you're also empathetic to the suffering of all beings.
Yeah. I want to add to the next portion of the show, because I know we're going to have to go soon. This is Happy Hummus, and Happy Hummus is a product that's actually also contributing to kids in schools and nutrition. I have Joe here, but I want to make sure he's on the screen. I see the Happy Hummus. There he goes. And I'll make sure we can see you. Hi, Joe. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's all right. Everybody's safe, basically.
Yes,
Yes.
So I feel like your product is perfectly aligned with today's message, kid heroes, those going into schools to make a difference. And Happy Hummus is on a mission on your website. You're donating your Happy Hummus snacks to kids in schools. You're supporting local schools. And your snacks are fun, which is always nice. Like, as I was born and raised vegan, and I would go to school and all my friends would have these fun snacks, and they weren't vegan. I couldn't eat it. But Happy Hummus, we should show a picture up here. They're flavorful little, these flavorful little certified vegan snacks that kids can have fun eating. So can you tell us about it?
Yes, of course. So the idea came when, obviously I'm not from here. So when I came to this country 20 years ago, one day my wife said, in this country, we have kids they do lunch program at school, and like, lunch program at school. Oh, interesting. And what about summer? And she said, oh, summer, they don't have that because, there is no school. And then the idea came like, okay, so how we can help in this particular matter. And then when I began doing hummus, I began giving a part of the proceed to school lunch.
How long ago was this?
Help. And it was we're doing this since 2015. 2015. And we do that, and we help. We give them once a month. We go to a school and we give hummus to everybody. And a lot of people, they don't know hummus. A lot of people, you will be surprised how much kids they don't know about hummus. So we give them hummus. They try. They say, "Oh, it's nice." And then we give it, and whatever that particular time we sell of the month, we give it to that school that we did the show there. And of course, our hummus is made out of things that you can read, like ingredient that you can read: chickpeas, tahini, salt, citrus, water, period. Nothing else. No addition, no preservatives. All these things are very, very important. And we were in a smaller area, in a smaller kitchen. Now we are in a very big kitchen, and we have a big capacity. Now we are looking for food brokers, all over, so they could help us to be in supermarkets bigger and bigger, because we are in few supermarkets, but we are not in a lot. So because we are now bigger, now we have the capacity to go to more part of the country, because now we are only in 3 to 4, 5 states, 3 to 5 states around Colorado.
So where can we order? So can anyone order your Happy Hummus offline? How can we get your hummus?
For you, Carissa, I will send you the hummus. I would do a package, send it to you so you can try them. It's so you would see how good they are. As you know, we have several kind of hummus.
Oh, I like the BeVeg certified vegan sticker you have on that. Can you put that closer to the camera? How nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So yeah, it's the original. Of course, the sun-dried tomato and basil. Whoop, here we go. All right, and the red bell pepper, and all of them are vegan. The next step, we will be doing non-GMO and eventually organic, because we're going there. And so we also give restaurants, because a lot of restaurants they don't do their own hummus; they buy our hummus. So at this point, it's we were talking about vegan. Well, I'm from the Mediterranean area, and all our food is kind of vegan. Olive oil, more vegan-y stuff. I mean, we rarely eat meat. It's more and more vegan. I was like listening to your guest, and they made perfect sense in what they are saying.
And so I'm going to add all of our guests back before the show ends, because I want to make sure everyone has the time to have a proper sign off. But I think it's great that everyone's going into schools and making a difference, whether it's with a vegan message or a vegan product or a fun food. Where did the name Happy Hummus come from, by the way? Why is it happy?
because this is the hummus who makes you happy.
Okay.
And these kids are happy too because they're not being harmed in the making of this hummus.
Yes, no one's being harmed. So Susan, tell us about the Animal Hero Kids giveaway.
So during Animal Hero Kidtober, World Animal Hero Kids Month, we're giving a free vegan fare to a domestic violence center and a group home in South Florida and in a drop-in center in Los Angeles. So we're looking for donations for food. And so if you wanted to help, that would be great. And so Animal Hero Kidtober, find out about it at animalherokids.org. And if you want to join, you can still join. And it's for all ages. Many kids and teens and adults are going to sanctuaries reading happy ending stories from the Animal Hero Kids book to the rescued animals. And we're putting out news releases to help get some attention around that and to the local sanctuaries. So if you're a sanctuary watching and you haven't signed up yet, go to animalherokids.org and sign up. Join us.
Okay. Perfect. And Tabay, where do you want everyone to go to find you?
You can find me at tabayatkins.com. And also my Instagram and Facebook, it's at tabayatkins. And on there, you can find the link on my bio to go to my website.
Keep up the good work, inspiring those other youths to be like you. And Joe of Happy Hummus, you're missing your title on the screen, but any final thoughts and final, here, let's put up your hummus again. This is
it's basically happy-hummus.com. You can find us over there. You can find, we are coming the next step, we are coming with 3 new flavors, which they are roasted garlic, picante, which is spicy, and lime and cilantro. We are coming with three new ones. So total we will have 6.
I can't wait to try it. I can't wait for you to mail those to me. I want to taste them.
I will do that.
Yes. All right, everyone. Well, thank you for joining with me. We have a hard out right now, so we've got to go. But it was a pleasure meeting all of you live here, and I think you're all doing wonderful work. And I love that we're really inspiring kids, really one kid at a time, whether it's through nutrition or a great message or yoga, and all generations doing so. It's really a beautiful thing. So keep up the good work. And for everyone else, thank you for joining us. We'll be back next week with another episode of The Laws That Matter on Jane Unchained News Network at noon Eastern Standard Time.